So the next important topic that I want to mention in the traditional analysis of a convertible bond is the conversion premium. So remember that the conversion price that we learned in the last section tells us the price at which the bondholder is effectively buying the common stock. So typically at issuance, the conversion price is higher than the stock price. So in a way, the bondholder or the investor has effectively paid a premium over the current stock price. So this premium is known as the conversion premium, and the conversion premium per share is equal to the market conversion price minus the common stock price. And there's also the conversion premium ratio, which is the conversion premium per share scaled by the common stock price. So pay attention that when we talk about the conversion price here, what we're talking about is the market conversion price. So this is the conversion price that uses the bond current market price as opposed to the bond par value. So this number is clearly very different from the initial conversion price that is typically reported at the time of issuance. So let's go back to the bond that we've been using and calculate the conversion premium ratio. So again, all the assumptions here are the same, so you can use it to continue our example. So the first thing that we have to do is to calculate the market conversion price for the bond. So again, this is not the conversion price, but rather the market conversion price. So the difference between the two is we are using the current market price of the bond as opposed to the bond par value. So 950 divided by 50 gives us 19. This is the market conversion price in that case. The conversion premium is $2. Is simply the difference between the market conversion price and the stock current price. So scales by the market current price, we get 11.76%, which is the conversion premium ratio. Now at this point, we should ask ourselves, now why would the investor be willing to pay a premium over the current stock price of $17? So to see why is helpful to think about what the investor is getting in this convertible bond deal. So what happened to the bond as the stock price start to increase? Okay, so in that case, the conversion value will increase too, right? And then at some point it will be greater than the straight value. So in this case, the investor will get to participate in the upside of the issuer's equity. On the other hand, if the stock price falls, which in turn will decrease the conversion price. Now, in this case, the investor can always choose to keep the bond and therefore keep the straight value of the bond. So then, if you think about it, this premium that the investor is willing to pay, these $2 or the 11.76%, this is what the investor is willing to pay to limit their downside risk. And also is the ticket for them to participate in the upside in case the stock increases in value. So in other words, instead of buying the stock directly, now the investor have another option. They can get the convertible bond and enjoy the periodic payment coming from the coupon, and they can convert it in case the stock price increases. So that is one way to justify this conversion premium. So another way to justify the conversion premium is to think about the income differential. Okay, so what exactly does it mean? So think about it for one moment. So if you hold the stock themselves, what you get periodically is the dividend payments. On the other hand, if you hold the bond, then you would get the coupon payment. Now, as I said before, the typical coupon payment of a convertible bond is much higher than the typical dividend payment. Therefore, this difference over time can offset the premium that is paid upfront. In other words, the conversion premium is offset over time by the difference between the bond coupon and the stock dividend. So you would take the coupon payment and subtract from it the conversion ratio times the dividend per share. And that's how many dividend you would get if you were to convert the bond into common share. And now you want to divide it by the conversion ratio to make it a per share number. So next, specifically, how long does it take for this income differential to fully offset the premium, the conversion premium that you paid in the first day? So that amount of time is called the premium payback period, or the break-even time. So to calculate it, you would take the conversion premium per share and divide it by the income differential per share. Now let's go back to the bond that we've been working with and try to calculate the premium payback period. Now here's the solution. You should start by calculating the coupon that the bond promised to pay annually. So remember that it's annual. Okay, so 10% of 1,000 is $100. Then you want to calculate the income differential per year as a $100 minus the conversion ratio times dividend, which is 50 times 1, and you would get $50. So that would give you the income differential. So then you would want to turn it into a per share number by dividing it by the conversion ratio. So 50 over 50 equal to 1. The income differential per share is $1. Previously in the last slide, we calculated the conversion premium of $2. So it is going to take me 2 over 1 equal to 2 years to recoup all of my conversion premium through income differential. Now let's talk about another important component of the traditional analysis on convertible bonds. So this is the measure that allows us to quantify the downside risk of a convertible bond. So let's remind ourselves of the straight value. So the straight value of a convertible bond, remember that it will be the floor, the minimum price is the lowest value that you would get. So the premium over the straight value could be a measure of downside risk of the issuer equity. Now let me explain why. If you think about it, then if the stock of the company is very volatile, that means that you can gain a lot, but you can also lose a lot. Now the convertible bond gives you a convenient way to participate in the upside, but you can also avoid the downside risk. So the larger the downside risk that you can avoid, the higher premium that you should pay to avoid it. Therefore, it makes sense for us to think of the premium over the straight value as a measure for the issuer equity risk. So this premium can be expressed as a portion of the bond straight value, and the higher this premium, the riskier the equity of the issuer. Now how about the bond upside potential? Now that will require some analysis related to the underlying stock, right? Because the upside potential comes from the conversion value. So when you convert the bond into common shares. You would need some technique that used for analyzing stock. You would need to know what's going on in the stock market, the development of the stock market, and the operation of the firm specifically. So that's all is out of the scope of this class. So that's all you need to know in this regard. Now you can turn to example 6 and try to calculate the premium over the straight value by yourself. That should be very straightforward, so I leave it to you. Now, as I mentioned before, the convertible bond is a hybrid kind of security. So any sort of analysis of this bond will have to consider both the characteristic of the issuer stock and the characteristic of the issuer bond. So we want to figure out what kind of characteristic dominate the performance of the convertible bonds. So is it stock price of the issuer, or we can say that the factors that related to the stock market, or is it the element from the bond market, for example interest rates, credit spread, so on and so forth. So in order to evaluate this kind of security accurately, we need to put them into different profile. Okay, so the first one is called the busted convertible. This is the case when stock price is far below the conversion price. That will make the conversion very, very unlikely. Therefore, this convertible bond will behave much like the non-convertible bond, because you're not going to convert it. You want to keep the bond itself. In this case, the analysis of the convertible bond should consider mostly the factor that related to the bond market. For example, interest rate, credit spread, liquidity spread, so on and so forth. The second type of profile is the equity sensitive convertible. This is the case when the stock price is above the conversion price. So they will make conversion very, very likely. Therefore, the convertible bond valuation will be dependent on the equity factors of the equity market. So in this case, we would care mostly about what's going on in the stock market. And finally, we can also have a hybrid kind of security, which is the balance between equity and credit sensitive. In this case, our analysis should include both bond market and equity market factors.